thank God I am not a sucker for wine, because had I been, I probably would have been a goner. I want whoever is watching this video to know the signs, the warnings, the red flags, what an approach is like, because it's no longer, oh, you want some candy? Oh, you want to see my puppy? These traffickers have new ways of being very charming and being very deceiving and making you gain their trust. So even I, as a 25-year-old woman, was fooled for a hot minute. This is that story. Hey guys, it's Katrina. Welcome to my channel. Never in my life did I think that I would have a story to tell about this subject. But now that I do, I am taking it as the utmost importance to share it and make sure that you guys know the tactics that sex traffickers use to try to lure women in, or vulnerable people, not just women. And I'm thankful that I know now, and now that it's happened to me, I can see why so many young kids and girls and boys disappear because of these things. I am a 25-year-old woman, so in my head, I always thought that sex traffickers target, really young girls, little girls, up to like maybe 18. I just didn't think it would happen to me. As I talk, I'll throw out some references and some screenshots of what one of the traffickers said to me. So let's begin. This just happened to me. I was at a resort called Lawrence Welk. My grandparents have a timeshare there, and I've been feeling really overwhelmed with life and trying to figure it out and what I need to do. And so I had asked my grandparents if I could just spend a weekend getaway up there on my own. Just, do some self-reflection, make some YouTube videos. I actually was filming a video about how to be comfortable being alone, which I will be posting soon. And after filming that video, I decided to go take a dip in the pool and just relax. I'm in the pool, I'm by myself, I have some music in my ears, and I see in my peripheral a man is coming up to me. He was an Asian man, kind of short, long goatee, and he's with this young girl, and I take out my earpods because I can see he wants to say something to me. And so he's like, hey, my daughter was just saying that you look like a model. And I wanted to come up and talk to you as well and ask you if you have you done modeling? So mind you guys, I get approached all the time by strangers telling me that I look like a model or asking if I model. So this was nothing out of the ordinary to me. I hope that doesn't sound like I'm tooting my own horn. I said that so casually. I'm very humbled by that. I'm a words of affirmation girl, so I love hearing those compliments. So this was nothing out of the ordinary. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've actually really been trying to get into modeling. And then he starts asking me well, what have you been doing? And I was just I'm just, shooting with friends here and there. And he's like, oh, well, I'm with AMA. Mind you, I don't know what AMA is. I assumed it was something to do with modeling, some agency. I don't question it. He goes, I'm with AMA. I do acting, modeling, voiceovers. And he was like, I actually have, a company of my own. And he told me that, he said something like, I work mostly with ethnic women, and you know what I mean? We're trying to do this with ethnic women, you know what I mean? And he kept saying that, and I'm just kind of a go with the flow kind of girl. So I was just like, oh yeah, I got you. I had no idea what he was saying. Fake. So he was like, but I would love to take you on board. I think you would be great. And he was like, if you could send me a headshot, here, take my number, and let's work together in the future. And I'm thinking oh wow, this is awesome. I've really been trying to make connections like that. And so I was like, sure. So I give him my number. Again, it should be noted that I'm a very trusting person, too trusting, I guess, trusting to a default. So I just give him my number because I believe everything that he's telling me. He was just like, oh, it's a pleasure speaking with you. And I was like, pleasure speaking with you too. Seemed very normal. The little girl was with him. That made me feel, more comfortable. And then they went away. So then not a minute and a half after this guy leaves, this woman comes up to me, and she is Sri Lankan, I later find out. So she comes up to me and she was like, hey, like, I just wanted to say you look super cute. And she's off the bat starts complimenting me, telling me how beautiful I look. And she just seems really friendly and nice. And she's like, and I wanted to check on you because that guy, like, he came up to you and I was kind of worried. I was watching your conversation. What was he saying to you? And I was like, oh, he just approached me about modeling and things like that. And she's like, oh, like, who did he say he was with? I was like, oh, AMA or something. And I remember her saying, oh, well, you better look that up and make sure that it's legit. Like, he looks kind of rough. I wouldn't, like, trust him. So she's saying all these things, right? And I'm kind of like, I'm taking it with a grain of salt because my interaction with him in the moment, it felt like it was normal. Like, I wasn't worried at all. And then so she comes up and kind of plants the seed in my head, like, you better be careful. And then she mentioned, she's like, you look so cute in your bathing suit right now. He could have taken a picture of you and just exploited you. So she used that language, right? And I'm like, right, well, okay. And I'm not really thinking much of it because, again, like, girl, I'm in a bathing suit at a pool with a bunch of people in bathing suits. Like, men have probably taken 16 pictures at this point. I'm just like, she just seems like a really protective person and she's looking out for me as a fellow woman. So, I'll take it. So then she continues to tell me about how she is a inspirational speaker and has this Facebook page. So she's like, oh yeah, look it up. It's called this. I'm not going to say it because I don't want anyone to, like, explore or get in trouble or anything. I look it up and I find it, and she's talking like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, this is how I make my money. And I noticed, like, there's only 32 likes on the Facebook page. So I'm like, okay. And you're telling me to be aware of this guy and make sure he's legit. And you've got 32 likes and you're really, like, talking yourself up right now. Sorry if that seems superficial, but I don't know. That seemed a little strange to me. That was the first thing that seemed strange. And then she's talking and she's like, so you want to, like, get into modeling and stuff? I used to do modeling, and actually I do modeling. I have a school for children. She's like, mostly kids of color, but we let in anybody. And also my daughter, she's 8 years old. She's a published writer. I'm a published writer. We write poetry. And so I'm just thinking, like, I'm listening to this woman who wants to talk about her life, and she's just going on and on about all these great things she does and talks about all these connections that she has. And she starts inviting me to, like, come speak if I want to. She's like, I can tell you have a story. Like, I've been looking at you. You seem like you came here and you've got something, deep going on, and maybe even a little painful. And she's saying these things like she's reading me, right? And I can see right through it. Like, girl, you could have said that to anybody in this pool and they're gonna agree with you. But again, I'm fake, so I'm going with it, right? And she's like, yeah, I can tell, like, we should sit down and swap stories because I have a story to tell too. So that was the first invite. She invites me to come speak at one of her conventions or whatever. And then she's telling me she knows this woman who is in the pageant industry, telling me that I should be in pageants. Oh, I'm going to give you this connection, right? And then there's another woman who's in the modeling agency who works with LA models or something like that, and she gives me that connection. Again, she's talking to me like a friend, like she's trying to look out, trying to give me some advice, and that's how I feel. Like, oh, she's just really friendly. And now she starts saying about how she doesn't usually stay at Lawrencewell because she's like, oh yeah, I usually stay at really fancy places like the Ritz and Hilton. So that's where I started to feel like, okay, who talks like that? Like, you sound like an annoying Disney Channel character right now.
Oh, I usually don't stay here. I stay at the Ritz.
Like, okay, some people like to flaunt their money. I find that strange. So she continues to say, you should come to Laguna Beach with me. I have a house up in Long Beach and I love to stay in Laguna. It's beautiful. We should go, like, get some drinks and whatever. And again, I'm like, okay, this girl is really friendly. That would be really nice. And I'm talking to her like, oh yeah, I love Laguna. Like, that would be really fun. And then at some point in the conversation, she goes, how old are you, 18? And I was like, no, I'm 25. And she was like, oh, wow. I was like, yeah. I said my usual line, black don't crack. And then she starts telling me a story about her husband and how he hasn't kissed her for 20 years. And I'm like, I did not sign up for this. Like, okay, this, it's just, you know, there's a term in psychology called high self-disclosures, and that means that you're a person that just likes to talk about your life, and you can meet someone and tell them everything. So I'm just like, this lady's a high self-disclosure. And all right, I'm just gonna sit here, and I'm the right person to talk to you about those things, because, you know, I'll be kind and I'll just, you know, be a listening ear. So what was happening here that I didn't realize in the moment was this was a grooming process. She is trying to gain my trust. She is trying to appear, you know, down to earth, get on my level, be really friendly, and it's all about trust gaining. And that's what after doing some research, I found out that sex traffickers, now it's not just like, oh, let me snatch this girl and take her. It's a whole process of really gaining your trust and being a friend to you, so that eventually you're gonna feel like you kind of owe them something. They've been so nice. So this is what she's doing right now to me. And so at first I was kind of falling for it, but then it got weird when she started telling me, oh, no, you should come to Sri Lanka with me. Sri Lankan men, they'll treat you right. Oh, my cousin, her brother, he's about your age. He would be perfect for you. And I'm like, okay, this is when in my spirit, something started to tell me, this is weird. And nobody's this nice. And nobody wants to give you this many resources for no reason. So I started to feel a little strange, like, okay. First of all, I like how you assume I want a man. Like I don't. I'm good in that regard. But I wasn't gonna say anything. You know, she just keeps talking. She talks to me for like about probably about 35 minutes, y'all. And then she is also surrounded by all these young girls, and she introduces them as their, oh, this is my niece, this is my daughter, this is my cousin's daughter. Like, and the girls seem, you know, really sweet. And then before the conversation ends, she's like, you should come to my room tonight. And mind you, she had asked me what room I was in casually. And guys, I know I'm literally so naive and stupid. I told her what room I was in. I was like, oh yeah, I'm staying in this and blah, blah, blah room. And she was like, oh, well, you should come to my room tonight for wine and chocolate strawberries. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, that would be fun. Again, I'm a huge pushover. I hate to say no to people. I'm learning. I know it's work in progress. And so I'm really in my head, like considering it, like 70% of me is like, okay, I should probably go because she seems really nice. And like, I don't want to let her down. Crazy. I know. Certified people pleaser right here. So now in my head, I'm thinking, I need to get away from this woman. Like, I came on this vacation to just be on my own. Ooh, that was another thing. I told this woman that I was at the resort alone. Now, in retrospect, I was the perfect target for a sex trafficker because they prey on vulnerable young women who are alone and who are looking for a brighter day and a better way for their life. And I literally I told this woman, she talked a lot, so I could barely get a word in, but with the words I did get in, I literally told her, like, I'm in a rough spot. Like, I really just, like, you know, I'm trying to figure out efficient ways to make money, but also, like, be joyful about it. And so she's offering me all these different, like, ways that I could make money and how she could help me and all these connections that she could give me to be able to do that. At the end, yeah, she invited me to the room and I was like, yeah, okay, like I'll probably come later. I'm gonna head out. And so as I'm walking out, I walk out to my room alone, and it is a far walk. And I remember walking thinking, I love how here as a woman, I can walk in the dark alone because I feel safe. Now I know I will never do that again, because then what transpired after I got back to my room creeped me the heck out. It started when the weirdness of that whole encounter, just, I couldn't let it go. I called my friend and I was talking to him about what happened, about how initially the guy came up to me and I just thought, it was my lucky day. Like, he came up to me, then she came up to me. At first I was thinking, it's my lucky day. I've been trying to manifest these things in my life and manifest connections for modeling and pageants and things like that. So I'm like, this is just, a sign from God of like, yes, like, I'm going to give this to you. Keep searching for it. And no, it was not that at all, unfortunately. So when I'm talking to the friend, I'm still thinking the guy was legit and that the woman was just a little strange. And he was like, definitely don't go to her room. Like, don't talk to her again. And also I had given her my phone number because I texted her, or she gave me her number. I texted her my name and I messaged her on Facebook from her little, inspirational speaker page with 32 likes. Then I get back to my room and immediately, the word that came to mind when I was thinking about that woman was like sex trafficking. I don't even know how I thought of it, but it just hit me and I was like, let me look up some YouTube videos about encounters with sex traffickers, like close calls, and see if they have any similarities to mine. And oh my gosh, they all mirrored mine. And then I really knew, like, there is no way on this God's good earth that I am going to that lady's room, because if I go to drink wine over there, bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna be given some kind of drug and I would have been gone. I realized that guy was just a way to build the trust for that woman to come in and be like, I've got your back. So I was like, he's definitely a part of it too. What the heck? I don't have any modeling connections now. So now I realize they have my phone number. They have my Facebook. They have my room number. And I put the deadbolt on my room. The guy had been texting me that night. I still thought he was legit when I got to my room. So I had texted him for his email. He texted me his website, and I told him that I would send him my headshot. Thank God I didn't. Ooh, that's another thing. Pictures. When I was in the pool with the woman, she was like, oh, well, I don't want to take your picture. You look so cute right now. What phone do you have? I was like, I have the XR. She was like, well, I have the iPhone 11, so we'll take it on my phone. Girl was she was telling me about how this man would exploit me. No, she was trying to exploit me. Projection at its finest. And she didn't end up taking those pictures of me. She also offered me a place to stay up in Long Beach where, again, some niece or cousin or aunt or whatever has a room. She's like, oh yeah, I think a room's going to be opening up. You could live there. That probably was some kind of like scary house. I don't know. The next morning, I called the human trafficking hotline. I was on hold for probably about 7 minutes before somebody picked up. And I proceeded to tell the story. I was like, I feel really awkward. I hope I'm not wasting your time, but I think that I was just approached by sex traffickers and I want to report it. And she was like really friendly. She just let me tell the story of what happened. And she was like, yeah, they were definitely trying to lure you in. I told her that they had a bunch of kids around them, and she was like, they very well could be on vacation and the kids could be a part of their family, because she had asked if they were malnourished or anything, and I was like, no, they weren't. And she was like, yeah, so a lot of the time sex traffickers use kids as trust builders. The kids don't even know about it. She requested I give her the Instagram that the guy gave me, the email that the guy gave me, both of the phone numbers. I left them with her, and she made a case. And I told her that I told them my room number, and she was like, please call the resort right after you get off the phone with me and ask if you can get your room changed. I was like, okay, I will. And it was a very pleasant conversation. It was very easy. I'm gonna put that number up right now, and I will leave that number in the description box. Ladies and gents, if ever you feel in the slightest that there are sex traffickers around, or you see a situation like that, or that happens to you, do call, leave any information that you can. It is so important that we get these people and make sure that they don't use their evil, sadistic ways on any more children or any more our beloved brothers and sisters. it's better safe than sorry, and I'm so thankful that I called. And after that, I called the resort, and the resort was very nice. I was afraid that they weren't going to believe me, but no, the resort, Lawrence Welk, took everything that I said very seriously. Unfortunately, they were unable to move me because it's Labor Day weekend and they were booked as much as they wanted to move me. She was like, you need to speak to security, leave them a detailed description of these people. I did that and then immediately deactivated my Facebook. I blocked their numbers after I got one more text from the woman. I'll put that up right now. She said that. So basically she was trying to get me to say, oh, well, my thermostat's not broken. Come on over. Let's party. Let's have fun. Like, no, girl, you got blocked because I know what you're up to. And I'm so stupid for falling for it in the beginning. But you know what? No, I'm not going to say I'm stupid. Because a lot of women fall for this. And because, again, they're very charming. They're cunning and very good at manipulating and making you believe that they're your friends. So there are a few different types of traffickers. There's that where there's like a tag team. There are also the traffickers called lover boys, where they're these really attractive men who dress like super nicely, and they'll try to approach women and try to make it seem like they'll be, you know, your boyfriend, and then they eventually end up getting these poor girls into the trafficking system. And there's also girls who don't even really recognize that they are human traffickers because they've been in the system for so long, and they recruit other young girls. So there's a bunch of different ways that this can happen. For me, it just happened to be two adults that were a tag team. They might be married, that man and women, I don't know, but I definitely know that they're working together to try to lure me in to their nasty business. If you've watched to this point, thank you so much. Please share this with somebody that you know and love and care about. Spread awareness to your friends. I would have never known had this not happened to me. Like modeling jobs. That's one of the things that they use, and I almost fell prey to it. And thank God I don't like wine. The next day, just to, you know, end the story, put your mind at ease, I had my grandparents come up and they spent the rest of the day with me. And now I'm back home and I'm safe. And I made this video immediately when I came home because I didn't want to forget any of the details. So also lastly, I'll add that the websites that they gave me and like the Facebook pages that they gave me, they come up with like make their own Instagrams, they make Facebook pages and websites that seem a little bit weird. Like there's not a lot of people on there. There's like some content, but not really. But they're making it in a way that it seems legit, like it seems real, but it's not. Like the website the guy gave me, I was like, what is this? It was so vague, basic, and that's a sign. Okay, if it seems vague, if it seems weird, it's probably not real. They walk among us, y'all, for real. They're right underneath our noses and we wouldn't even know it. And also, California is #1 for sex trafficking in the United States. So just, guys, be safe. Keep an eye on your kids. Keep an eye on your sisters, your friends, your brothers, everybody that you care about. Make awareness, let them know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you're staying safe, having a good time wherever you may be, and I hope that you'll see me again in another video soon. Stay safe.